After agonising over which Royal Enfield to go, I've gone full circle and back to the Royal Enfield shotgun. This is Bill Smith's in Chester, for anyone not familiar. Multi-franchise dealership, deal with Honda, Kawasaki, Royal Enfield. Good selection of used bikes as well as new ones. They've got clothing and things upstairs as well, so good old dealership. I don't always have the best experiences at dealerships, but I have to say I've dealt with Bill Smith for multiple inquiries now, and every time they've been great. This particular bike sold to me by Ash Barton, the sales manager. Absolute pleasure to deal with, and he's done me a cracking deal, which we'll talk about a little bit in a little while. But this is it, the Shotgun 650. Anyway, I say full circle because when I purchased my Himalayan 450, I actually rode a shotgun at that point in time. I rode a plasma blue one out of Millennium Motorcycles in St Helens, and yeah, gave it some serious consideration. Yeah, I was very tempted by the bike. I loved the noise and the feel of the machine and the sound, everything about it really, but I couldn't reconcile the slightly kind of bobberish, lower slung position as an everyday rider. So really went with a head over heart decision and went with the Himalayan 450, and I have zero regrets about that. That's been an absolutely fabulous bike. So yeah, no regrets there. But did always think at some point I would come back, and the whole Royal Enfield experience has been one that's taken me down a bit of a rabbit hole really, because yeah, before I got the Himalayan I barely watched YouTube. I watched the Miston Flyer, Teapot One, Nothing to Prove, a few of the kind of reviewers, but I certainly didn't spend a lot of time watching videos, and I didn't create anything to upload for myself. That was very much the enthusiasm that the Himalayan gave me, and now hopefully this will continue. So yeah, what do you think? Looks good, doesn't it? This is the drill green version. Unfortunately, well, it's a bit changeable, so it's soggy already, which is a great start. So despite many indecisions along the way in terms of which Royal Enfield, I did eventually come back full circle to this, and I'll explain a bit about why in a second. But for now, let's get on and ride. I've already had the toolkit out, I've adjusted the preload, so let's fire up. And that does sound lovely. That's super smooth, that engine, isn't it? As you can see, 5.4 miles on the clock, so it can be running in, so it's going to be a very gentle review, but our first ride of the bike. There we go. So just release the pressure off there and take that out a bit. So let's drop those down to their midpoint, and same here. Okay, go for about there. Right. Well, that sound is a big part of this purchase decision. So let's get on our way anyway. Oh, as you can see, Royal Enfields. When you buy Royal Enfields, got a little pack of goodies there with the normal documentation, spare keys. We do also get these little welcome kits, which I think is a mug and a key ring and various other bits and pieces, which is yeah, a nice little touch by Royal Enfield there. So as the title says then, I think I've just bought Royal Enfield's least popular machine, definitely their least popular 650. Well, what makes me say that? Well, a number of things. First, I've been tracking used 650 prices for several months now, and I can tell you that the shotguns hang around an awful lot longer than many of the other bikes. Now I know it's not a direct comparison because some things like the Bear have only just come out, so as soon as they come in second hand they're sold again, but looking at the other machines, they just seem to turn over a lot faster. So that's the first thing. Second thing, and probably the bigger of the two of these things, is the offers. I mean, the offers available on this machine, it's not been out that long, it's a relatively new bike to the market, and yet the offers on this machine are stronger than any of the others. And what I mean by that is there's discounts available. You walk into any dealership, look on Auto Trader, you will find these bikes significantly reduced from their list prices, and you'll also find on top of that you can take 0% finance offers, and the one I was looking at in particular was a 50-50 finance deal. pay half up front, pay nothing, and then pay the other half in 2 years with no interest. So some really tempting offers, and that suggests to me that they are struggling to place these machines, or they've overproduced the machines and they can't place them all. The third thing, and difficult to see in isolation, was one thing I really noticed on that demo day again, was that it's quite an anonymous looking bike. When you put this, I was following this alongside a classic 650, and then there's bears around, and there's the shotgun kind of blends in with its black casings, black exhausts, muted colour tones. It actually doesn't stand out quite as much as the other bikes do. There is a bit more pizzazz to those, whereas this is slightly anonymous in comparison. Still very, very nice looking, but that blacked out look does, when it's parked alongside a load of other Royal Enfields, it does rather fade into the background. And then of course I upload YouTube videos, and that demo day again I put 5 videos up from one day. I've also put up other videos on the classic 650 and the bear, and I can tell you by a very big margin there was less viewing on the shotgun 650 video. So forget how many views I get as an individual. For me, posting about particular bikes, the differential between the shotgun and some of the other bikes was just massive. So there's definitely less interest in this machine overall. I do also wonder whether part of the reason for its lower popularity is just this was not the Royal Enfield Classic 650 that everybody wanted when it launched, and it did launch with a bit of a whimper rather than a full-on fanfare, and it was kind of a, oh, by the way, this is also here. So maybe it's that, I don't know. There's also, ultimately this bike is a bit niche. What category is it? It's not a cruiser, it's not a bobber, it's somewhere between a naked roadster and a classic bike, isn't it? It doesn't really fit into any particular niche. So I would think maybe Royal Enfield don't expect to see big numbers of this bike, but then what goes against that is obviously the number that are around on the used market. But as it happens, I really love this bike. I like that it's like nothing else. What would you compare this to? Realistically, what other bikes fit into this category? There's nothing quite like it. I also like the slightly subdued look. I like the blacked outness of it. I think it makes you look really special. And yes, as I say, it doesn't particularly stand out when it's parked next to a 650 Classic, but I think it really is a lovely looking machine. And the colours are all fairly subdued, with the exception of the plasma blue, but I really like them. And I think my favourite colour is the stencil white. I think because I like the sheet metal blue, just having that white with the bits of the sheet metal blue, and it just really makes it stand out and pop, and that red lettering, I think it looks really lovely. But I would have happily had 3 out of the 4 colours for that bike, because I think they all look great. The only one I'm not particularly keen on is the plasma blue, and even then, if the deal had been good enough, I probably wouldn't have said no. So yeah, I think it's a really great looking machine. I think having all the blacked out components really suits it. I like all these black shiny metal, and having the gloss black engine casings really kind of gives it a little bit of something special, gives it kind of some different tones and lights, and yeah, overall I think it is a really impressive looking machine. So as it happens, the The offer I found was on a drill green, and I actually happen to really like this colour. Something that's I hadn't seen one in the flesh until we did the demo day. Yeah, I actually really like that machine because it had the tail taken off this, so it exposed the black bumper. So it's the only one that you've got a contrasting colour bumper, and I really like that. So I thought it was really nice. Plus, I'm going the wrong way. Let's turn around. Yes, I say the only one that has the contrasting rear bumper, and I did really like that. Plus, my Moto Guzzi was the I think was called the camo green version, so they're kind of military looking green, and I really love that bike. So this kind of evokes a bit of a memory of that bike for me. I should say, sorry, I really like that bike to look at. I did not like it to ride. So anyway, yes, very happy to have effectively gone full circle in 12 months. Tried many different bikes, and or should I say many different Royal Enfields, and then wound my way back to the Shotgun 650. I think it's a great machine. But why the Shotgun and not the Bear 650 or the Classic 650? Well, when I rode that Classic 650, I really loved it. It is a very good bike to ride. It's comfortable. It's a beautiful looking machine. The pictures don't do it justice. Well, as I said, I absolutely adored that Classic 650. I think it is a stunning looking machine. Everything about it, from the shape of the tank, the nacelle, the kind of commanding riding position, the comfort, everything about it, I just thought was wonderful. But here's the thing. To keep it looking that wonderful is going to require a substantial amount of upkeep. Polished surfaces need polishing, plain and simple, and I've seen a few that haven't been pampered, and they just look a bit sad, and I didn't want that. I want to be able to enjoy the bike and not worry about keeping it looking its best, and that's where I think the Shotgun is a great balance. And then there's the ride, and this is one of the things the demo day really did prove to me, that as similar as these bikes are, the small changes to the position, more forward over the bars, the change in the geometry, the suspension, different wheels, do make a substantial difference to the way the bike rides and feels. And for me, this just tips in nicer. It has that sportier feel to it. It's not a sporty bike by any stretch of the imagination. It's still, as I say, it doesn't really have a niche, but a naked retro cruiser-ish bike. So it has no sporty pretense, but definitely in terms of the handling of this bike versus the Classic 650, you get to the first corner and you are definitely rewarded for taking the less gentlemanly choice and going with the blacked out hooligan looking Shotgun. Now, I know this is where many will disagree with me, but I think this is a better handling bike than the Bear 650, and that's one of the main reasons for not going for that bike. The smaller wheels, the steeper rake, the shorter trail, I just find the feel of the steering on this bike is more direct and just a little bit more eager to tip in for me. Now, that may be a factor of the 19-inch wheels, it may be my size and bulk and just positioning on the bike, I don't know, but certainly for me that was the difference in feeling on this bike versus the Bear, and one of the reasons I went for it. The other thing that the demo day taught me unequivocally is that the Classic 350 is the best classic. It's light, it's nimble, it's charming. It is just close to perfection, that bike. And the 650, whilst a lovely machine, is a heavy old lump. So yeah, make no mistake, this shotgun 650, just like the classic 650, is a lardy lad. It's something, I think, 240 kilos, and you feel the weight. It flows nicely when it's moving, but certainly nowhere near as nimble as a 350. So yeah, definitely if you want the charm, you go for the classic 350, not the classic 650. But what about the pace? Because obviously the Bear is the quicker bike. It's got slightly more power, slightly more torque. The numbers alone should mean that's a slightly more sprightly bike, and I've no doubt it is. But here's the thing: the shotgun is 95% of the performance of the Bear, sorry, but it's 150% of the sound. So one of the things that I really loved about this shotgun from the start and the classic 650 is that stereo sound, that beautiful stereo exhaust, all the bangs and pops that come from it, and you just don't get that same noise on the Bear. There's definitely more engine sound than there is exhaust. So that was, yeah, a big differential for me. So I would have bought the Bear for its looks, definitely. I think it's a great looking machine, and I do prefer that Tripper TFT to this display on this one. I don't think there's any way to change it, but overall I just felt the comfort and suspension, the noise, everything about this suited my 6'3" and heavy frame much better than the Bear. So yeah, that's why the Shotgun 650, and it is my fun bike. It's not going to be my practical everyday bike. That's what the Himalayan and eventually the Himalayan's replacement will be for. This is just something for a bit of fun on a Sunday afternoon. So what about the deal then? Because as I said at the start, part of the reason for jumping for this bike was the deal. And if you look around, there are some good, nearly new Bears and classic 650s. You can pick them up, you know, five and a half now, no problem at all, for a used one. Now, as I mentioned at the start, I was interested in using one of the finance offers available on this. I was thinking that I saw it come up on Auto Trader in a couple of sites about the 0% finance deal, and happened to be in the garage and noticed this one was on sale, already reduced to about, I think it was 5,500, maybe 5,800, down from 6,700 or 6,800, aren't they, as new. So I asked about the finance deal, and that led into a conversation that yes, even with a discount, it was still eligible to have the 0% finance, so it could have paid, first half of the vehicle up front, or slightly more because he wanted a fixed figure of about 3,000 something up front, and then the remaining couple of thousand when the bike was 2 years old. But then led into the question, and I'm quite an awkward character. I'm not a hard negotiator at all. I don't tend to try and haggle for things. If I think something's a good deal, I'll ask if there's any improvement to be had, but I'm not going to push too hard. But I started a conversation about what it would take for me to just purchase the bike outright, so not to take the finance deal, and just what was the number that would mean I could pay the full thing up front and take it away. And as it turns out, that number was 4,850. So yeah, 4,850 for a brand new 75 plate, 2025. I'm the first registered keeper. 5 miles on the clock, so delivery mileage. Brand new Royal Enfield shotgun. That is an absolute steal. I'd seen some come up on Auto Trader for around 5.5, and I think since buying this in September, because I did buy it back in September, I've not been able to pick it up. I have seen some others down in Bude and other places where they're dropping the prices just below £5,000 now. But yeah, absolutely staggered by that, because the other bike I was very interested in, the Royal Enfield Goen, and I bought this one just before that Goen came out, has launched at around 4,700. So for an extra £150, I should say that 4850 is fully on the road and everything, nothing else to pay. 4850 to drive away. So for me, what I'm looking at is this potentially provides me with depreciation-free motoring or motorcycling for the next 12 months. As long as I can move this on again, if I decide to move it on, I'm pretty confident I could do it without losing too much money. So yeah, very, very happy with that deal, and it did make it a bit of a no-brainer in terms of taking the offer there and then. Unfortunately, this is, we're now 24th of October. This is the first opportunity I've had to pick the bike up since purchasing. So yeah, temptation of no depreciation for a year should make this a very cheap and fun bike to ride, and obviously with the insurance as well. I still have the Himalayan, and with Bikeshore I've put both those bikes onto a multi-bike policy, and now I'm 45 years old. I've clean license, about 6-7 years no claims on motorbikes, and live in deepest suburbia, so I'm not exactly your high risk rider, but even still I've insured both these bikes on a single policy for around £300, 2/3 of that being the shotgun. The Himalayan is about £100 a year to insure, fully comprehensive, which is, it does make these bikes extremely cheap, good fun to have. So a 2-bike garage with very little depreciation, very little insurance costs, ultra frugal machines. Really, what is not to like? So what do I plan to do to this bike then? Well, not much. I think is pretty good. I think everything about it I like. There's a few changes I'm going to make. I already have a box of bits at home from Hitchcock's, which I look forward to getting onto the bike. Most of those are based around protection, so we've got the little fly screen binnacle will get put on there to protect the speedos. I have seen some that have rev counters on. I don't think it needs a rev counter. I personally, I'm kind of happy this is a lazier natured bike. I don't really need it. Anyway, I digress. The fly screen binnacle, the sump guard, again, just protection, keeps a bit of that mud and filth from spraying straight into the engine casings. I have got the bar end mirrors. I just bought Hitchcock's ones. I didn't buy the Royal Enfield ones. I actually preferred the look of the other ones without the writing on them. Because I intend to take the passenger seat and frame off, I've also bought a little lift handle to help put it onto the centre stand, although I'm not entirely sure that's necessary now. Having put this onto the centre stand is actually very, very easy, but nevertheless I have one. I've bought the different rider seat, make it look a little bit different, but that's really about it for now, I think. And the clear LED indicators, that's just purely aesthetic. I prefer the look of the bike with the clear indicators on. Actually, looking at the Goen, one of the things I liked about it was the gloss back elements with the clear indicators, so actually I can achieve that fairly well on this bike, so that's great. What else? That really is it, I think. Plan to use a tripper as I'm doing now, so I'm not going to bolt sat nav to this. As long as the tripper kind of continues working as this one does, then I'm fine with that. I may have a look and see if there's any solution to the cabling and tidying up, because one of the things I didn't like about this bike is the way the cables are pinned. It's not too messy, but yeah, I'd like something looking a bit neater than that. Let's see. Exhausts, well, there are some nice aftermarket ones. I like the look of the slash cut ones, the kind of shortened ones. But actually, for sound, I don't know any. Don't think it necessarily needs it. So we'll see on that one. My first impressions on it may also say that we want to change the tyres out, because it's a little bit damp and greasy today, admittedly, and these are brand new tyres, but it does feel a bit on the sketchy side, I have to say, on that rear. So if they don't improve, they may well get changed out. But yeah, everything I loved about the demo rides, I still love about this one. That engine is just beautiful. The gearbox on these 650s is just spot on, and yeah, brakes are good. Brakes are valid. Back brake is really strong. You forget how strong that rear brake is. You get back on this and push too hard straight away. So really nice to see. Okay, try looking right. Right. Okay. Okay. Oh, and also, before I go, I've had to resist temptation, obviously, with that fantastic offer on this bike. One of the things that did cross my mind, with a little bit of thanks to Ian Hughes, also, I think, trying to flog one to me whilst he was in Crewe Motorcycle Centre. The Goen. I could flip this, take the profit out of it, and use it for the Goen. Wouldn't get quite such a good value year out of the Goen doing that, but yeah, the thought did cross my mind, but I'm being sensible. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to continue my slow bimble home now, running in. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you'd have gone for. What do you think of the shotgun? What choice would you have made? And of course, big question, with that offer, would you have flipped it and gone for a Goen Classic 350? But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.